Ever built something out of nothing? Ever known what it costs to be a boss? Ever met outstanding entrepreneurs that stand for something and don't fall for anything? Jiheshimu, lakini usikajidanganye. Know your worth, gain value. Established African.
Welcome once again to Established African. This is Commercial Fridays, and today I'm joined with a very, very special superhuman. Her name is Silvana. She's my lawyer, actually. We work with her on different projects. Whenever I need her to come through, she's always there for me. So I told her, Silvana, you have to come and just, you have a lot of knowledge of wealth with you. And I don't want this knowledge just to be by me. I want it to be with all forms of generations of people who are out there putting in work, trying to get their money right, trying to understand how they can get to the money in a very, very corporate, professional manner without bending the laws or breaking the laws. So I invited her in this platform, and I just want you to stay tuned because you're gonna learn a lot. You're gonna learn a lot. Get yourself a paper, get yourself a pen, sit down comfortably. We'll just have great conversations with a lot of gems dropping. So, Madam, how do lawyers call each other? My learned friend, Karibu Sana to Established African. We are proud to host you here. We are proud that you took your time off your busy schedule just to come and talk to the youth and explain to them what really goes down in the corporate, how to set up companies and all that. So we'll go ahead and gear up. We'll start by, just introducing yourself, your name, and then you explain to us, how did this journey, first and foremost, of becoming a lawyer, how did it start? What's the route that made you become the person that you are right now as a lawyer? Let's start from there.
Thank you, David. My name is Silvana. I run a law firm called Silvana and Associates. I've been a lawyer for the last 15 years.
Wow.
My journey towards being a lawyer actually started in primary school.
What?
Yes.
So you were the kids who, when teachers used to ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? Yours was straight fresh, I would just want to be a lawyer.
Yes.
Wow, that doesn't happen.
Yeah, but actually how it started, anytime people would have a dispute in class, they always asked me to solve it.
Wow.
So I kept asking myself, how is it everyone wants me to? Like I looked like a neutral party all the time. So
wow.
That's when the seed of being a lawyer was planted.
Hey.
Yes.
So you've been a mediator. This is not nothing new to you.
Yes. And
wow.
Yeah, it's always been my lifelong passion.
Wow.
It's something, as I keep saying, you have to love reading. So reading is part of who I am.
Wow.
Yeah, so I read widely. And then I went to high school and then went to the University of Nairobi. That's where I started my law degree. And then I pupilled at a known law firm called Gaturu and Company Advocates.
Wow.
Yes, that's where I actually learned everything I know.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a very deep experience. It's a well-established law firm, and then I moved on to corporate. So that's how I became a corporate lawyer.
Wow.
Yeah, so I worked for 7 years at Nairobi Securities Exchange.
Hey!
Yes.
Umefanya kazi kwa stock exchange. You'll teach us how to bet there, by the way. We need to learn.
Yes. So I worked there and had good supervisors.
Wow.
Yeah, so I worked under a gentleman called Andrew Washira. He was the manager legal then. And after that is when I formed my own law firm.
Wow.
Yeah, of course, over my career, I can credit a lot of people.
Yes.
Andrew was really somebody who was attentive to details, so he taught me how to be attentive to details.
Yeah.
Yes, and as well as the CEO I worked under, he was called Peter Mwangi,
Wow.
also very highly attentive to details.
Wow.
Yes, so becoming a lawyer means, first of all, you have to be attentive to details because small details matter in law.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes I see clients getting upset when I insist, no, I actually want the particulars.
Wow.
Yes. So right now I'm enrolled for masters at the University of Nairobi.
Wow.
Yes, a very immersive experience and learning just how law is related to society is something that is very fascinating at the moment to me because it's kind of weird that 50 years after, actually almost 60 years,
60.
yes, after independence, a lot of Kenyan people are still very marginalized. Here in Nairobi, we think everyone is okay because you have water, you have electricity, you have mobile phone technology. But the reality is the average Kenyan doesn't even have access to quality education.
It is true. It is true.
Quality education. They have no good infrastructure.
Yes.
They can't get their produce to markets because the roads are terrible. The reason why food even is very pricey in Nairobi is because the process of getting it out of farms to Nairobi is very, very hard, and difficult for the farmers. So that part of law that I'm learning right now,
Yes.
how law is related to the development of the country and of actually the people even in this room and people in the village. We are not equal, that's the truth.
Wow.
Yeah, and then something else I learned is the middle level Kenyan has obviously advanced to a point where they can afford education in private schools.
Yeah.
I believe your children go to private schools. Yes.
Mine will go. Will go
Will
most
go to-
definitely. I went to private school all my life,
You went
so
to
I have
private
no
school.
excuse to, and I was a son of a matatu driver, and he made it happen.
He made it happen.
So I'm gonna make it happen as well.
Yes. And when you get sick, you go to Aga Khan. But that's not the life of an average Kenyan.
Yeah.
And for me, my greatest question as a lawyer, how do we get to equality?
Wow.
Where a child in Wajir has the same access and facilities
Yes.
to a child in Nairobi.
Wow.
Personally, I grew up in the village, so we didn't have any access to water or electricity really until very recently.
Wow.
Yes. So for me, that's what drives me as a lawyer, on top of being a commercial lawyer, is how would I, as a lawyer, help every Kenyan achieve equality.
That's like problem solving,
Yes.
an economic, and still
Yes.
a justice system.
Yes.
That's a lot of work.
Yes.
That's just like being a president. So we shouldn't panic one of these days umesimama ukasema nipigeni kura in a certain place. Because that's where you're going. If you really want that, you'll have to get into the politics side of things to be able to see things happen. If that's where you want to achieve.
Politics, okay, I don't think I want to be involved in politics.
Don't want to do politics, Silvan? And then you have good opinions and solution about siasa whenever we talk siasa.
No.
You're my go-to person. I never want to discuss siasa sometimes.
Not really, because politics is different. Yeah, I think policy is more like it's. I'd want to be involved more in policy.
So judiciary, we expect to see you there.
Maybe, I don't know.
Ka PhD kakisha kuja.
Yes, definitely.
Hey!
Yeah, but for me, it's an important question.
Okay.
Like, why don't all children in Kenya have the same opportunity?
Yes, yes.
If you speak to a lot of people, you will see if they had the same opportunity like you had to go
Yes.
to school. Sometimes people don't perform poorly in school because they are not bright, but they just don't have access to quality education.
Which is true. It is true. It is
So
true.
for me, that's my. I feel like that would be what I'd want to do.
To achieve.
Yeah, to achieve.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a very, very long journey according to how you have explained and where you have come from.
Yes.
And who is like your hero? Who made you drive and push to become a lawyer? Because we all became something because of someone. Like me personally, I ended up being the person that I am today, an entrepreneur, just because of watching my dad, just watching him come out from the house every day, 4 a.m. in the morning. I wake up at 4 personally until today, just from observing that, him being a matatu driver, watching him every day do that, it inspired me to want to become an entrepreneur. And that gave me the motivation. For you, who made you, because you didn't come from, your father was not a lawyer, your father was...
He's a businessman.
He's a businessman, right?
Yes.
And mom was...
Yeah, my mom was largely a stay-at-home mom.
Wow.
Yes.
So your mom was a housewife?
Yes.
Your dad was an entrepreneur?
Yes.
So where did law even come from? Was it a calling from God? Where did it come from?
Okay, I'll recount an incident I saw when I was in primary school.
Okay.
So we had gone to watch the president. I schooled in Kirinyaga. And and Marakarua was the MP for Gishugu then.
Hey, Marakarua has been out here for a minute. Iron Lady, shout out to Marakarua, all due respects.
Yeah, so you remember how when the president would come, everybody would go to watch him, especially primary school students.
Yes, yes.
And I remember Marakarua walking out.
This is Moi era, right?
Yes, Moi era.
Okay.
So Marakarua walked out. I don't remember what he said, but I actually remember the act of defiance by Marakarua, and it stuck with me the whole time. And then I largely grew up during the fight for multi-party democracy.
So you were there with all the Sabasaba movements taking place?
And I come from Kiharu, where that was the...
It was like the root of...
Yes.
Okay.
That was where the action... Yes, that's
movement.
where the action was. And
Okay.
I remember all of it, watching
Wow.
on TV, people bleeding.
So you
Reverend
watched Matiba,
Njoya,
you
yeah.
watched Matiba being the sober billionaire
Yes.
to becoming the unfortunate...
Yes, politician.
Wow.
Yeah, and I remember being so angry at it.
What?
Yeah, it really used to make me angry. Yeah, so that was part of it, like why I wanted to be a lawyer. I actually became a different lawyer than I thought I'd be, which is where all lawyers start. You start with, I really want to fight for people's rights,
yeah.
That's where it all starts.
That's where the motivation comes from.
Yes, and I remember being so angry, especially about what happened to Matiba, actually, like...
The Matiba story really messed a lot of Kenyans, right?
Yes.
It wasn't just Matiba who suffered mentally.
Yes.
A lot of Kenyans got messed up
Yes.
with how Matiba ended up.
Yes.
Wow.
And I remember it being such a hard fight to get to multipartyism. Yeah. And I can't call myself an activist. I'd be lying. But the fight, I feel, is still within me.
The struggle is still
Yeah,
within you.
it's just that we have to find better ways of doing it rather than going to the streets.
Yeah.
And I feel every other African country that is in the same situation, they still have to go to the streets. But
Yes.
where Kenya is right now, I think
We are done with the streets.
we are done with the streets. Now it's fighting from policy level. And I think the Constitution is also doing a good job.
The Constitution is doing a good job.
Yes.
But as it stands right now, is it doing a good job according to you? Because you have already been slapped with the Constitution, now you're being slapped with another strategy.
Okay, I don't want to talk about that still, since it's still something that's ongoing.
Okay.
And there are a lot of, I say if you want to polarize people, talk about politics.
It's true.
Yes, so the Constitution can do more, but it's a good starting point.
Okay.
Yes. But other than that, I credit my parents.
Wow.
Yeah, because I remember my mom, she really used to stay with me late at night, trying to help me do my homework. My dad bought me a lot of books. Everybody knew me for having a lot of books, like all the time. So my interest in reading, that's where it started, with just my dad always buying me books, always asking me, how are you performing? I came to learn later, it's not every parent that is involved in their children's life like that.
It is true.
Yeah, so for that, I think that's where it started. Yeah, just always helping me with work, with schoolwork. Yeah, because it matters.
It matters a lot.
It does.
I wish I always say I wish my mom was educated, because my mom never got to the level of college. She just finished high school and she got married to my dad after high school, because the parents were not doing well, so walikuwa jaribu kutoa shida kwa nyumba, because the children ilikuwa shida. It's just like the burden and the responsibilities are too much. Let's ease off. So my mom was a housewife, yes, at some point, but she wasn't the ideal. She was still young, very young, in her 20s. So she wasn't the ideal kind of mother who would sit down with their children and make sure that they study and study with them. Yetu alikuwa anatuambia kaa pale, soma. So she's just gonna watch you from a distance, because of course she doesn't understand what you're studying. Our DNI changed curriculum when you guys were, as we did 844. You guys did, I don't know, the one that...
No, I also did 844.
Okay.
Yes.
Now my mom, she's in her 50s. Yes. I don't know about you, but she's in her late 50s, matter of fact.
Okay.
So them, they did the different one than us.
Yes.
So we were not in tuned in the same academic system as them.
Yes.
So I ended up self-educating most of myself in these things.
Okay.
But I'm still proud of the person that I am today.
You should be.
Wow. So Silvana, I mean, at the end of the day, you ended up being a lawyer. I'm sure your dad, is he still around with us?
Yes, he is.
I'm sure he cried the day you graduated. I'm sure he was off the roof.
Yeah.
My daughter is a lawyer.
Yes.
And your era, it was very big.
Yes.
This era is...
Everywhere.
Are you a dope YouTuber? Are you a dope
I know.
Instagrammer? Are you a dope, hiyo ni era yetu sahi pali tuko sahi. But your era, scholars were very big, like in your village.
Yes.
Are you I'm sure you can count a couple of lawyers in your village. You're not so many.
I think there's a lady one.
Okay.
I think I know one.
Just one.
Yes.
So it's just very few.
Yeah, very few. Actually, I remember coming to Nairobi because one of our village mates had graduated, and it was my first time at the University of Nairobi.
Wow.
And I remember being so marveled because, University of Nairobi is very beautiful.
It's heroic,
especially the architecture.
The architecture.
Yeah, and I remember saying one day I'd study here, Yes. Yes.
So that's big. So, you ended up being this lawyer. So, you've been in the field now for
15 years.
15 years. That's a lot. That's a lot of experience.
Yes.
In one field. And I'm sure you've seen a lot of in and outs of law. It has its ugly side and it has its beautiful side when people are getting justice.
Yes. Yes.
So, which are some of the best cases and some of the worst cases you've come? Like, I know because of client privacy, they might not want to be exposed. But can you highlight those cases at least which are done? They're not in court, but they are done that you can freely speak about. Just something which was good or something which was really, really bad on your end. You don't have to mention it.
Okay.
You don't have to go to the details. Just do your story too,
Yes. Actually, I think I even wrote about it on LinkedIn.
Yeah, your LinkedIn. By the way, follow Silvana on LinkedIn. She has one of the best articles. I'm always your fan. I'm sure I'm your top fan because I always read everything that all the links you share. That they educate me a lot.
Yes,
A lot.
yes. So my highlight, and it wasn't a big case, but it was about a supplier who had offered some services to a large established company in Kenya, one of the largest, and they were trying to recover for the company must have been small amounts.
Yes.
But if you have had a small company,
Yes.
you know there is no small amount.
There's no small amount.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's between that small amount and you paying your employees.
Yes.
Yeah, and what was even more personal to me was they had already incurred costs to fulfill this service for this company. And the way the large company was treating them was so poor.
Wow.
Yeah, like, I mean, this is nothing for us. Why are you even bothering us? This is my budget for a night out, you know,
Yes.
my entertainment expense.
Wow.
Yes, so when they came to me and I looked at it, I told them, let's try and recover the small money.
Yes.
It's not small money, but to the large company,
Yeah.
obviously, was small money. And first of all is to dissuade large suppliers from really market domination and taking advantage of small suppliers. You will notice that part of why small companies can't even grow is because large companies take so long to pay them. Yeah, we are talking 120 days.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Even I hope these systems, they need to change. We need to change our whole procurement system. The procurement system is really at fault. Even me, I had to wait for almost 120 days for a payment that I really depended. By the time you're getting that money, yani mashida zimekuchapa.
Yes.
Mpaka hata uwezi, mashida tu zimekutandika to left, right, center.
Yeah.
By the time you're getting that money, it's not even beneficial how it was supposed to be beneficial.
Yeah, so you'll find maybe somebody even took a loan to service an order, and the bank is after them. Wow. And the large company is not paying. So for me, I think that's another area I'm passionate about, how you treat your suppliers as a large company.
Yes.
I think 30 days should be maximum. Really.
30 days, exactly.
Yeah, 30 days. Yeah, 30 days should be. Yeah. I mean, I wish they would reduce the number of days they take to pay suppliers. Yeah. Because for small companies, any amount is a lot of amounts. Exactly. And that kills a small company, which means the small company can't grow to a large company. Yeah, because without money,
you just become an SME
for a very long time. Without money, your company doesn't grow, right? Yes. Yeah, so we dealt with the large company, and luckily enough, they paid the clients. Wow. But what happened after that was what was more important. Other suppliers who had been in the same situation now felt like, oh, now we are emboldened to go after these guys. Because we have this culture in Kenya where even just a manager is law unto themselves, Yes. Which I think is really wrong. Like, a manager in a company shouldn't be able to frustrate a supplier just because they asked for their money. So I feel like a lot of people in Kenya don't go after what's rightfully theirs just because they fear the repercussions.
So they fear being cut off.
Yes, from the system.
From the system.
Yes.
Because they are people who are rightfully fighting for what's theirs.
Yes.
And that's a very bad notion in business. That has really costed me.
Yeah.
It has really costed me. And I said I'll never do that again.
Yeah.
In business, you just have to be black and white.
Yeah.
You cannot, it's not a friendship.
It's
right, not a cartel. We didn't sit here and decided to form a cartel together. that you'll always pay me because I'm constantly supplying you. It's exchange.
Yes, it's exchange.
I've given you goods, give me the money.
Yeah, it's it's an exchange, you're right, you know. And I also follow influencer discussions on Twitter and social media managers saying, when I try to ask for my money, they said, you would never work elsewhere.
Yeah, that's the notion that's outside there, especially the corporates.
Yes.
Yeah, they like using that word.
Yeah, you'll never, I'll make sure you never work.
Blacklist.
We'll blacklist you. And if somebody supplied services to you, which comes to my next point, how are you contracting with these people? Because in the case I was dealing with, we only had emails to show evidence.
What?
There was no contract, no LPO, nothing.
What?
Yes. So possibly always enter into contract.
What?
When you're supplying goods, especially to these big companies.
True.
Agencies, you know.
Mandatory.
Yeah. Even if it's a one-page document, something to show that.
I'm giving you this, I'm expecting this.
Yes.
And that's it. Tumalize your maneno.
Yes.
Wow. That's some really big gem. And I know a lot of, because me being in the influencer industry, like, you know, because we pioneered it.
Yes.
And when we pioneered it, most of those rules were not there. And I know they use, until today, it's still there. They'll still use those things like, you know, I will blacklist you and I'll make sure you never work for any other company.
Yes.
And other influencers have seen it happening on other influencers. Like I have my friend, he's called Noriega. He's the manager to Otile Brown. Otile Brown is a very big artist. Otile, even I believe Otile Brown is supposed to be an international artist by now. But he cannot develop because he doesn't have the corporate support that he deserves. Because if he had the corporate support that he really deserved, even his music videos and the way he packages himself would have been different. But Otile has never done any corporate partnership because he messed with one corporate.
Yes.
One, I don't like. He went to Jalan and spoke about it, and it's on YouTube. It's there. You can find it. But the lady that he messed with, because I know the backstories and I don't want to talk about them in front of the camera. She's very powerful. So he has to figure out how to go and. Let me just say, he has to figure out how he's gonna ask this whole situation for him. And me knowing Otile, the person he is. He's a street dude. He's not gonna go kiss us. He'll continue releasing music. So for influencers, I think contracts are mandatory because I think with a contract you can be able to justify yourself. You're paid on time and stuff like that. So, and here's another notion. A lot of young people want to get into business. They want to be what we are right now. They want to create a business that will make them money and surpass and live beyond them. What processes do you think? And I'll start with the negative ones first and foremost, me that I felt. When I was starting out and branching out, I was a sole proprietor. I only had a business certificate to my name. And nearly struggled sana because I couldn't work with the government. First and foremost, the government hasn't given opportunities for the youth to be able to work with them because they don't have company certificates. So let's start from there. There's a difference between a business certificate, sole proprietorship, and an incorporational certificate. Those are two things that young people do not understand today. So I didn't have a certificate of incorporation until I met you. That's when I learned the game and how it's supposed to be played. Actually, you opened my door when I incorporated my company because that's how I was able to get big businesses. Before I was just a sole proprietor and nobody invests with sole proprietors because they think nikipatia kijana hizi millions atatoroka na stay muona tena. You know, because he's a sole proprietor. So it's hard for me to get him. So can you please explain for us and the youth outside there who want to be entrepreneurs, what is the process for you, first and foremost, to start with? Which is the most sufficient process? And also, what are the benefits of being a sole proprietor? What are the disadvantages that comes with it? What are the benefits of being a company? And the advantages and disadvantages that comes with it?
Okay.
Yeah.
First of all, starting a business,
Yes.
and I think I've mentioned this to you before, it's not about registration of a company. Yes.
Valid point.
Yes. Before you even think of starting a business, I think it's first important to see, number one, is the market there. Do your research.
Yes.
Two, if you're collaborating with other people, have a shareholders agreement,
Yes.
which precedes the business registration.
Yes.
A sole proprietor, there is nothing wrong with being a sole proprietor. And even for some professions, you can only be registered under a business name.
Okay.
So things like law, for example, you can only be registered as a business name because there is no separation between you and the business.
Yes.
So the greatest difference between a sole proprietor and a limited company is actually the limited liability.
Okay.
So a sole proprietor is liable for the debts of the company.
Okay.
Yes? And limited for the actions of the business name.
So the risk
Yes.
is what defines.
Yes.
Okay.
So if you take a loan for your for your business name, that loan belongs to you as an individual. You
That
can't run away from it.
That means if I default,
Yes.
I'm liable to be auctioned even the things in my house.
As a person.
Ooh-wee.
Yes. And a limited company, the liability is on the company.
So it separates the risk
Yes.
of you being auctioned individually,
Yes.
but the company now.
Yes. So the only liabilities there is to the extent of the unpaid shareholding. Yes. It's true many companies don't want to trade with sole proprietors.
Okay.
And registering a company has become very easy these days.
Yes.
Yes. But more importantly, people need to know that there are obligations that come with a company. Yes. Because I feel like many people open companies for a particular tender and then leave it. Then 10 years later come, oh, Silvana, I want to revive this company that I registered 10 years ago.
What?
Or wind it up. Then I ask them, have you been doing your annual returns? No. Have you been paying your taxes? No. So you will find in 10 years, a company would have accrued even up to 500,000 in terms of penalties. Yes. And then there are people who also register for VAT and forget to file returns. Penalty for not filing your VAT returns monthly is 10,000.
Yes.
So in a year, that's 120,000. Yes. So.
Are you guys taking these notes here? Because and I'm sure people are not paying attention.
They are not paying attention.
You guys are not doing filing annual returns.
No. And then we have this culture in Kenya that we like taking shortcuts.
Yes.
So you go to the guy at the cyber to register maybe a PIN for you, and they tick everything.
What?
So most people, that's where they are caught. Because they went to the cyber, they registered for a PIN. Of course, the cyber guy is not a professional.
He's not.
Yes.
He's just there to service to get his 100 shillings.
Yes. And that's how many Kenyans have found themselves unable to trade. Yes, I remember one day I was in Thika and I met with the chairman of the small and medium site. It's called Small and Medium Authority, Enterprises Authority. I don't know if you even know it exists. Do you know if you've heard of it? Yeah. And he had gone to rescue a trader in Thika because they hadn't paid their VAT for many years.
Wow.
And their business was being closed.
By KRA?
Yes. Yeah. So I feel like there is a lot of, there is lack of education for small businesses.
Yes.
I think you remember we were running a series of trainings.
Yes, I remember the series of training.
Yeah, because I felt companies needed to know that it's not just running a company. It's not just selling coffee, for example.
Yes.
There's so much more involved in running a company
Yes.
rather than just selling.
Yes.
And once you register a company, you register for tax, you need to keep up with the compliance.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow, that's really deep. So we have already discussed how to open businesses.
Yes.
Now, the next chapter that I know people get messed up on is on copywriting, patents. So I'm a developer.
Yes.
I've developed an app like M-Pesa.
Yes.
And it's promising, and we've done tech analysis, and it looks like it will make us $1 billion.
Yes.
I don't know what laws can protect this application, and I don't want to be robbed this application that I've just developed.
Yes.
What's the best advice for you for such a young person?
As I said, before you register a company, part of what you need to do is the research.
Okay.
Research in itself should also include research on intellectual property. Because there's a case I was reading, it was Weetabix versus another company, I don't remember the name, I think Oatbix.
Yeah, Weetabix and Oatbix.
Oatbix, yeah. And I remember they had to pull off, maybe not Oatbix, let me not say Oatbix, I don't remember, Manjimix, I think. Something that made something similar to Weetabix. And I remember they had to pull off all their goods off supermarket shelves. All of them. Yes?
That's a cost.
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
Yes. So when it comes to intellectual property, copyright, trademarks, patents belong, even utility models, the best time to do anything is before you take it to market. Because I'm imagining if I have to research, put goods on shelf, advertise, then I'm asked to pull the goods off the shelves.
You'll go crazy.
You'll go crazy.
Especially as a startup business.
As a startup business, I
You'll
know.
go nuts.
Yeah, I know there are a lot of creatives even here who are coming up with really good music.
Yes.
Even making skits, you know,
skits,
those very short skits that I see being shared on WhatsApp.
Yes.
We
even
have
editors.
Yes, even
like us,
editors.
Our editor, she's a very good editor.
Yes, they are publishers. So there are a lot of people in the creative space right now.
Wow.
And sometimes they lose out just by not being aware of their intellectual property.
Wow.
And I remember this particular case of someone called Alvan, Alvan Love, something like that.
Okay.
And he produces a lot of skits which should earn him a living. And he fell into problems which just comes from not monetizing his skits, you see? Yeah. So a copyright is something you develop from your creative or intellect. That's why it's called intellectual property. There is real property, like there's real property like this land is real property. Yes. But largely IP can't be seen.
Yes.
And that's why people can't understand that a book is somebody's intellectual property. It comes from their brain. Yes. It's a creative process I mean, you know more about music than I do. The creative. It's
a special one, yeah.
The creative process. Yes. How much an artist puts in it, right? So the process of registering a copyright is very easy because it can even be done online on the Kwekobo website.
Now we have digital.
Yes. So I think you should copyright before you take it to market. Anything. Be it a source code for a software, you know, which you've developed.
A logo design.
Yes, a logo design.
What one will be of it?
Yes, photography.
Photography, actually.
Yes, and as long as something can be reduced into a digital work.
Yes.
or put in a digital format, it can be copyrighted.
You know, a problem that people are facing now is YouTube.
Yes.
A lot of creatives are suffering on YouTube.
Yeah.
Somebody claiming your
Music.
creative content that's there as if they are theirs and they are reporting. So YouTube is struggling
Yes.
to define and understand if this, and a lot of people are losing. You have to develop a YouTube channel.
Yes. It's a lot of work.
It's like a construction. You know, it's like you're doing construction with no money.
Yes.
It's very difficult.
It is, yeah.
So a lot of people are losing their YouTube pages with their subscribers because of people accusing them falsely. Just people just out of nowhere go and report you because they have this report segment.
Yes.
So they go report that your content is their content.
Yes.
How do you curb these situations on digital law? How do you do this? Because YouTube, I always ask you, can you claim that this is your property?
Yes.
Are you able to claim and show us that this is your property?
By registration.
Wow.
Yes.
And does it
Simple.
cost?
Registration is 800.
It's only 800 shillings.
Yes.
Yo, Wakenda. Abu guys, this is very important, matter of fact.
Yes.
I don't think people know this because people have been lied to. It's very expensive. You'll have to pay millions to copyright your.
It's and I think it's the work of the government and the state agency
Yes.
to make this information more public.
More public.
Yeah, and the thing with YouTube is based in the US. Under US law, as much as copyright law doesn't have to be registered, for you to put a claim,
Yes.
the works have to be registered.
It is true.
Yes. So if you have something you've done, maybe a song, you can try and copyright it before you take
Before
it.
you release it.
Yeah, before you release it.
Wow.
Because whoever goes first would claim, right? Because if I go first earlier than you, then I have the certificate of that work before you.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
So I think for artists, they need to understand it's not just about recording
Yes.
and performing.
Yes.
It's running music as a business, which really it is.
That's very important.
Yes.
You know, I think with what we have said and according to the understanding that people have gotten outside there,
Yes.
I think if you want to seek further consultations, we'll put Silvana's email address. You can see it below.
Yes.
And kindly just reach out to her, ask any other questions. If you feel like you need to know more about patenting, copywriting, registering a business, she has come in handy in my life. I've been able to secure my businesses just because of her. And it's never ignorant to ask a question. You don't know something, consult. Ujuaji wachini. Because a lot of young people are suffering. Duty ujuaji. Ujuaji nyingi. You know.
And even as we are still on that topic for intellectual property, there's something about trademarks.
Yes.
I remember asking a few artists, have you trademarked your name?
Do you know there's an artist
Yes.
who suffered because of that? Big time.
Yes.
There's an artist called Cardi B, and I think they know her.
Yes.
She's a rap, hip-hop mogul. And somebody claimed her name
Yes.
just when she was on the brink to launch her career. And she was in a court for like years while she was still developing and building this brand, Cardi B. So what would you advise? Because I know.
Maybe 90%.
99% of our artists, mnazaenda mregister jina zao saa hizi and you'll own it. I guarantee you.
Okay.
So what would you advise this artist, especially creatives?
Who is the greatest artist right now in Kenya?
According to me,
Yes.
I think the greatest artist right now, according to me, is I'll take Sauti Sol.
Sauti Sol.
Yeah.
But Sauti Sol are smart.
They
Yeah,
had a very, very staunch manager before they parted ways.
Yeah.
He knew these things, so he copyrighted their names and stuff.
Yeah, so for all artists, I'd advise trademark your name.
Wow.
And because for an artist, the name is everything.
The name is everything.
You remember Rihanna fighting with her father over her name Fenty?
It was pretty like shame, man. What family can do to me? And
Yes, so the earlier you trademark your names, and if you would like to have a particular business going on, let's say where with your name, then try and trademark under as many classes as possible so that other people cannot ride on your name.
And you know, trademarking is not that expensive. You know, it's a cost.
It's a cost, yes.
It's a cost, yes.
Yeah. But
you're an artist, Mazi. You're making money on multiple, you know, platforms. So sacrifice at least to save your future.
Yes.
You know?
And this is not just for artists. It's for anyone running a business
yes.
with products that they create.
I see. I have friends in the soap. I had a friend, actually. She's in the soap business. And somebody went and developed a soap under her brand
yes.
name.
Yes.
And it went to the market. Na ikaribu msichana sura aliungua half the face. It was on Twitter. She trended for about a week. Akachomeka sura. Sijui aliweka nini kwa hiyo sabuni. And it was under her name. So right now they're in court. She's in problems because first and foremost, she thought that registering a company is opening a social media page.
Okay.
So she hasn't registered the company. Let's start from there.
Yes.
Atana certificate. Yes. Second, she already has a case with a person who used her brand name, which is publicly known in social media.
Wow.
And now it's affecting her because mtu alienda kanunua hiyo sabuni kamwaribu half the face. And she was on the brink of marriage. So, what would you advise somebody like this? And it's a young, she's 22, my God. She doesn't know anything about this stuff, not consult. So what would you advise such a person?
I think what you're saying about consulting before starting a business and before developing products, and I see a lot of people selling things on Instagram, something naturals. I mean, people are developing products in a way we've not seen before in Kenya.
Exactly.
So my question I always ask myself, are you just selling products or are you running a business? Because those are two different things.
Yes.
A business calls for more than just selling. Yeah, it's not just about going and developing a product and start selling it. Protecting your brand first makes it easy for you to fight. If you ever go to court, then you're able to say, oh, I have already registered this brand. But a lot of times when people write to us, they ask us how much is the cost, which is really not much.
Yeah.
But people shy away.
People don't sacrifice.
People
don't like sacrificing.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the cost of like what happened to your friend,
yes,
even just going to court alone would cost more than that.
It's a serious case.
Yes, because how would she go and fight and say that that's my soap?
What? Oh, that wasn't my soap.
Yes, that wasn't this is our formula.
So she will still be beaten in court because she doesn't have a company certificate.
She doesn't have a company certificate.
Hakuna tax nini yote inaonekana.
Yeah, exactly.
You're doing business illegally.
You're just selling, not doing business.
What?
Yeah, there's a difference between selling and running a business. So I actually like how many businesses and people are being so creative and developing products. That's a good thing. But consult professionals before. Exactly. So she would say, my soaps have a KEB certificate, for example. Right?
She doesn't.
She would say, this is how we product, because when you're registering something, they ask you to describe it.
Yes.
They ask you to show, like they ask for a pictorial representation of the product. So she would be able to defend herself.
Yes.
The cost of not doing these things is greater than the legal fees that a lawyer would charge, for example, which is about 400 USD, which I think is a really small amount compared to the losses.
Yes.
Yes. I think we should stop selling and run businesses.
We should stop selling and run businesses.
Yes.
So as we close on this,
yes,
what would you like to be remembered as? And what are your last words and advice to the youth out there who are watching this and they feel like I cannot approach her first and foremost. I don't have the money to sit with her. She'll charge me for advice. You know what I mean? So What are your words on that, and what would you like to be remembered as?
As I think, as I said in my introduction, I'd want to see reduction of inequality in Kenya and in Africa, really. And I want every child, wherever they are, to have same opportunities as a child in middle-class Nairobi. I think that's the only way our country can develop.
Yes.
We still have a long way to ending discrimination as well.
Yes.
People in Kenya are discriminated for ethnicity,
Yes.
gender, even sometimes color. Colorism is still big here.
Really big.
And sometimes whether you're single, married is still a problem for many.
Yes.
So I think reducing inequality in Kenya, for everyone to have like proper access to water, to electricity, to good education, to good health, that's something I think about every day, yeah. And I'm also very passionate about the environment.
Yes.
I think I've told you before.
Yes.
I run a page on Facebook. Find it. It's called Plant 1 Million Trees with Unique Landscapes. Please join it.
Yes.
So that we can contribute somehow in a small way. I mean, that's the only thing you can live on Earth, right?
Yes.
If you plant a tree, it will still be there.
Wow.
When you're gone.
Yeah.
It's some of these trees are centuries old, so
Yes.
Everybody should plant a tree.
Yes.
And looking forward, it's just sensitizing people on business, on intellectual property, how to do contracting well.
Yes.
And we run highly subsidized trainings where we offer our services for free.
Wow.
Yes. So you only pay maybe for your lunch or something.
Yes.
The trainers are not paid.
Yes.
So if you want to learn more, we will give you our details. When we have sufficient interest, then we can run a training on these business issues. Yes. Otherwise, keep the spirit. And thank you very much for inviting me here.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
I'm sure we're going to do this. This is just a small warm-up.
Yes.
But I know we'll continue doing this. I think you'll be the guest who will always show up for every season because we have different scenarios. But you know, law is law. And everything we do is revolved around the law.
Yes.
So thank you very much for showing up on your tight schedule again.
Thank you.
You know, lawyers are never available, you know, just for these kind of things, you know.
Yes.
This is and they're expensive. You know, when a lawyer is supposed to be engaging, you know, every minute to them counts. Na ni pesa. So tutakuachilia sasa ndio tucharge, nitumie invoice after this.
Asante.
So
Thank you,
very much,
Castro.
Silvana.
Thank
It's
you.
been a pleasure. And
Pleasure too.
guys, if you need to follow up with Silvana, just check our Instagram, check our social sites that are down there, and you'll get all this information from there. May God bless you. May God bless Kenya.
God bless Kenya. Thank you so much.